Welcome to the intersection of Black culture and horticulture with your girl, Colah B talking. And guess what, y'all? We Black in the garden. From WABE Studios, welcome to Black in the Garden, the intersection between Black culture and horticulture. I am your host, your fave, the hostess with the mostest, Colah B talking. And today, we're here to talk about single plant parenthood. So this episode is dedicated to the single plant parents out there, and shout out to the ones nurturing the plants and themselves.
As it should be.
We're going to do this a lot today.
A dual relationship.
So, Plant Zaddy, thank you so much for joining us for this. And you joining us by default means that you are single. Care to comment?
That means I'm not married yet. So on paper and government, I am single.
Same for me.
Absolutely.
Yes. I actually, fun fact about me, I got divorced on Zoom. And you, yes, I did.
Okay.
It was 2021, something like that.
Got
but
you,
I got my
COVID.
papers, and your girl is out here back in these streets, and I'm actually having a good time.
Okay.
So
how are the streets? Because I'm not in them.
then I'm going to be telling my business a little bit too much. So I don't think that we need to do all of that.
The streets is good. Y'all.
I'll just get into how we got... I'm living life, okay? You know, I was free. So you may be wondering how I came up with the theme for this episode. What happened was my nephew, who is a Gen Zer, he's grown, you know, I am somebody's auntie, okay? So he sent me a link to a podcast called Up First. It's an NPR podcast where they were discussing the art of being single. So me and my nephew, we often discuss our experiences out here in the single world, like totally different generations. But what I noticed between us, lots of similarities as far as what we're noticing and how people can be a little strange or, you know, disconnected. Challenges are challenges.
No matter the generation.
No matter the generation. It turns out single plant parenthood, because that's what we're here talking about today, is something that, you know,
It gets real.
it gets real. So it was such a thoughtful conversation. I really enjoyed that podcast. And I couldn't help but wonder what an episode of Black in the Garden in discussing singlehood would look or sound like, or what it could offer to our audience today. As, you know, we're just doing the best that we can out here.
With what we got.
With what we got. So have you ever wondered how plants can help with loneliness?
Well, I haven't wondered. I know single-handedly, first-handed. But like we've already talked about, you know, having plants in your space can not only brighten it, but it also can be a two-way relationship in terms of the care that it needs and that you end up giving it and that it end up giving you back. In terms of the two-way street.
Yes, we're not at the watering moment yet. I see you trying to show out. We're going to get there. This whole episode is a watering moment, low key. So you ever wonder what they might say about us as partners, or can they even be there for us after a breakup, helping us move on?
Listen, I can care for my plants as much as I want, but right now they probably are finding out how to be adopted.
What?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, that's me getting into my personal information again. So, but you asked what the plants were thinking.
About to have a step parent?
Maybe one parent.
So your plants are coming up in a single
They could be very
parent
soon.
home.
Yeah, because they probably tired of me too. So regardless of the two parent household, they probably like, give me another household, period.
Oh.
Yeah. But it's okay. They can't leave. They're stuck with me because they're mine.
Pretty much.
But divorce, separation, whatever it is.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you know.
I'm sorry, friend. Yeah. I told y'all, vulnerability.
This is one of those episodes. Buckle up, buckle up.
Yes, because we're going to go from... Today, we're going to explore the idea of plant companionship and how our relationship with plants can reflect and influence our connections with each other.
Absolutely.
And of course, ourselves. So we'll just start with that. And I want to start by sharing a little bit about my journey.
Okay.
I was a single mom before I even got into plants. And so I was working hard, you know, doing my best, trying to keep it together. I mean, single anything implies that you don't have a person supporting.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I did the best that I could, but I did later get married. And not long after that, I married my obsession with plants.
Okay.
Like mid-marriage, all the kids are there. I'm with, husband. We call him husband now. But the relationship that I started with plants changed all of my relationships. So that's worth noting for sure. And it's a huge part of how we ended up here, as you can imagine. Like, how did all these plants get in here? How did I get in here? Because plants changed my life in that way. So I know that not everybody is as obsessed with plants as we are.
Okay.
You got it on your shirt. I got it on my dress. It's everywhere. But there's levels to it. For those of us who are serious about it, plants can really teach us a lot.
They should, if you do it right.
If you're learning, if your heart and your mind is open to the lessons, to the wisdom, to the gems. So whether you're a hobby gardener, a plant collector, maybe even a full-time farmer, there's lessons from life with plants that can help us all relate to people. You know what I'm talking about.
I sure do.
Okay. And you ready to get real about...
Let's go. Kicking in high drive.
So this inevitable sensation, loneliness, the big L, not like this. I didn't mean to do that. But it is an inevitable sensation, and it can be considered the dark shadow of single life. Not everybody's willing to admit that, it comes upon them sometime. But hey, you don't have to let it become a permanent occupant in your space, right, in your mind, in your emotions, So I read a Business Insider article from 2021. And can you guess what it was about?
Child, plants. And 2021, COVID was going on.
It was during the pandemic. So it was about plants and pandemic loneliness. And so the article said that indoor plants can help with loneliness because you're interacting with a living and changing organism, right? And you have something that you're nurturing, that you're taking care of, and something that needs you. So that's a quote from Gwen Freed, who was the then manager of horticultural therapy services at Rusk Rehabilitation at NYU Langone Health. Shout out to them. That was definitely resonating.
True and valuable.
Yes. I do experience loneliness as well, but I believe that plants are such a helpful and healthy tool to help in those moments, because when I kind of zoom into that feeling and then I'm probably kind of meditating or in the bed or something like that, and then I look at a plant, generally near my bed, there's some kind of beautiful favorite plant. You know how we do. We have to place them strategically. Yeah. And in doing that, I just say, look, this plant is just so beautiful. And I just meditate on it and just give thanks for not just what it's providing me with in my space, but just life in general and all the blessings. Yeah.
And when you do that simple thing, it's kind of without even thinking, it gives you a sense of pride and it increases your self-motivation, self-realization that I can do it because what I'm looking at is something that I'm taking care of. So just like we said before, like with children, they talk back. Plants don't talk back. You look at it and that's the way they communicate. Yeah. So when it looks green, that usually means that you're doing something right. So you can check that box off in your book. Yes.
Validation. So tell us a little bit, Plant Zaddy, about your experience with plant companionship during those moments when that dark shadow of single life was looking a little murky.
When I was going through what I was going through, single or whatever struggles, all of my plants literally died in my house before I realized it.
Before you realized it?
Before I realized it. Meaning that I wasn't present. Plant Zaddy wasn't present. And nobody really knew what was going on. But regardless, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anything else. And that right there was a reminder. And that's something that we've always been told. But clearly, I wasn't following or abiding by that small thing that we've been told all of our lives. So that was something that made me say, Josh, Plant Zaddy, you have to take care of yourself right now in this moment so everything else around you can survive. So if you allow those plants to speak to you, because I could have just thrown them away and not even thought about it, but if you allow that process to be your process and to speak to you, then you will learn from it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to experience the death of your plants, but what about the yellowing of one leaf? That's enough for me.
Pay attention.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the plant is screaming. So
do something about that. When we're caring for our plants, are we in some ways revealing the type of person that we are in relationships, like our relationship patterns?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I would say probably 90% of the time, because, sometimes things are just things and it's just a situation.
Mhm.
But even through my consultations that I do with people in home or virtual, I learn so much about that person without even talking about them. But it's their actions, it's how they care for their plants. And I have a couple of things I want to get into, but I will save that for later.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it
excited
definitely
about
is a
that.
direct sign, alignment, resemble, all of it. Like, yeah.
So you've done a little research.
Yeah.
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 How do you feel about the connection between how we care about plants and our attachment styles?
I think this definitely says a lot about us and how we approach life, people, things around us, or whatever it might be. But let's just say, like, overwaters, for instance. Someone who waters their plants entirely too much. They really show the need for reassurance. Wow.
Anxious.
Is that you?
No, I'm doing that because those people get on my nerves. No shade to y'all, but like, you just watered it yesterday, girl. Put the watering can down.
And I tell people all the time, is the plant in its natural environment getting water every day, all the time? No, because
Not that cactus.
No, no plants unless it's in
Not that snake plant.
a jungle.
Right.
It's just
A
not
tropical
a thing.
environment.
Yeah, but the
Yes.
thing is, even if it's tropical, there's still other variables like the sun, humidity, a drought. Like, there's so many things, and you're trying to replicate an environment that you've literally forgotten that it's a plant, and you just want to do something.
I don't be sweating in plants. I let them do what they do, and I would prefer that they just droop a little bit.
So you wanted to
before-
talk back to you.
Yes.
So that's literally one of the next things that I was going to say, the avoidance styles. And
Okay.
you prefer the plant to do what it wants to do.
Yes.
Autonomy.
Mhm.
And then you'll be there whenever it needs help.
Mhm.
That's probably how you are with everyone else.
Wait, you said avoidant?
Avoidant. Yes.
I'm not avoidant.
Avoidant to the opposite. You got to think about
Got
the
it.
spectrum. We
Okay.
have an overwater, somebody who pays way too much attention.
Mhm.
And you have someone, because we know that you're not going to kill the plant, but we're
Yes.
talking about care. So you're all the way on the right-hand side because you're
Mhm.
like, yeah, I watered you 2 weeks ago. I'll be back whenever you tell me I need to be back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just speaking to
Yeah.
the anxious part because I'm like,
Mhm.
I am secure.
Okay.
I maintain that I have a secure attachment style.
Yeah. But you
Yes.
really want to find that balance in plant care.
When you have a secure attachment style, you're understanding that the process is going to do what it
What it's
does.
gonna do,
And
yeah.
my over interference in it is not going to speed things up, maybe slow things
No.
down, I guess.
And that's a great segue. So I got a story.
Go for it.
I was taking care of, it was really late at night. First of all, I'm gonna keep it real
Ooh,
quick.
tea.
It was late at night. I was going through whatever I was going through, emotionally, mentally, whatever. I know I needed to care for something. And I was downstairs before I even realized it with my plants.
Oh,
So I know it's very weird. But like I said, 3 o'clock in the
No,
morning. And I
not
was
weird.
not sleepwalking, but I was wide awake.
to be clear, you was wide awake.
So there I am taking care of the plant. And I'm not watering it. I have a pair of scissors in my hand because I had one yellowing leaf. I cut that leaf off. But then I saw another one that started to yellow. Cut that leaf off.
She got to go.
She got to go.
Mhm.
Then I grabbed a cloth. I started to wipe the leaves off.
Oh, you was getting into it at 3 a.m.
I was. But the next thing I realized is I cut one of the leaves that was right beneath one of the new leaves that was coming out. So understand this, if I would not have realized in that moment to back up and take a step back, because sometimes we are overbearing to whatever situation, I could have cut the new leaf off.
Right.
And that was a direct note to myself that sometimes I might be overbearing or I might be worried a little too much, when sometimes you just got to step back and allow a situation to pan out the way it's going to pan out. Take a deep breath. Don't water. Don't wipe. Sometimes just look and appreciate what the plant is doing, but for yourself, appreciate where you are in that moment. So I wasn't appreciating where that plant was, and that plant was developing a new leaf. But sometimes when you speed up through your journey,
Right.
you're not allowing yourself to really grow those tools and those new leaves that you have growing.
And you just made me think about how would you categorize the person who, when the plant is growing, and y'all know who y'all are, and I'm one of y'all, the leaf is trying to uncurl,
And you're going to uncurl
and you
it.
trying to like feel it. Have you done this before?
So,
What does that make me?
No.
Do I feel secure?
So, Colah, in the end, I'm just going to bring this up. In the end, our green friends teach us that while everything and everyone has different habits and styles, that there's always room for growth and adaptation.
Okay. So what does that make me?
So you said that you weren't the neglector.
Correct.
Okay, so we went over that.
Mm-hmm.
We also went over the overwaterer, so you're not overbearing.
I don't do that. I don't know that life.
Okay, so this one might fit you. So I got 5. I try to keep it very slim, okay, so people can grasp what I'm saying.
Sure.
I think you might be the perfectionist. Does that resemble?
I'm a Virgo. It tracks.
Okay. So high control. You like to be in control of what's around you in your environment?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Meticulously, you you stress over every detail.
Yeah, details matter. Look at this. We all in place.
Yeah.
We do what we need to do.
And I will say you are reliable.
I appreciate that.
But the last point that I have is that you might struggle with flexibility in relationships. What do you think about that?
Let me think about that momentarily. Struggling with flexibility in relationships. I will struggle with the flexibility if the person who I need to be flexible with me is not flexing.
Okay.
But I am pretty chill. I'm pretty go with the flow.
Right. So we're talking plants. Plants Plants can't be flexible with you. So perfectionist is what you are.
I forgot that we were on the show. I thought we was sitting.
No. No, she tried a lot of, she's a perfectionist.
When it comes to the garden outside, I wasn't thinking about it because I haven't been in practice for a little while. But in the gardens that I've had, I was cool with them being messy. Like I didn't need them to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to be, but just the way that life works and flows and balances or not balances, in many cases, I just realized this is kind of futile because it doesn't matter how pretty it is if it is for practical purposes.
Right.
So I want to balance that out a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, you just told the 4th one.
I'm trying to win my securement.
I'm just going to say that this one probably is you because the casual gardener, you already said that you feel like you have a secure attachment, right?
Yes.
So this one is, balanced and intuitive with care. So basically, like I said before, you got to find that balance. You just said that you're intuitive, like in terms of the placement, things of that nature, but you trust the bond with plants and people. You being the person, the plant being the plant, of course, but you want to show attention without overdoing it.
Absolutely.
So we just got to you.
We just got to the casual gardener. Secure. Hello.
Yep. And the funny thing is that I named it the casual gardener. So it definitely fits. But the next one in the 5th, but not least, is the newbie overwhelmed plant parent. Okay.
Oh, I know that life.
That is the plant parent that is undecided. They don't really know what to do. Alternatives are everywhere. They're doing one thing one day, then they saw something else the next, and they want to try that when the plant is not even like having a chance to take a break.
That's that TikTok.
Exactly.
That ain't nothing but TikTok and Instagram.
Yep.
And y'all watching them fake plant hacks. Y'all need to go back to the chocolate botanist episode. Stop the plant hack cap and get your lives together.
Yep.
But
or if you need help, hit Plant Zaddy up because really there's so many alternatives out there that between over caring and neglect, like you gotta really pick one. But I will say that newbie is so careful with everything they do and they want to care so deeply that they lack confidence.
Oh.
And that becomes to be inconsistent. And usually, like we said, in relationships, that's probably how they show up too.
Ooh, not you reading them. That felt like no shade, but that just...
So the thing is, you have to figure out who you are, what you are, and how can I be better? Because there's...
Okay.
Yes. There is no perfect person, and you bring everything that you bring to the table for a reason, but that don't mean you got to eat it. At a certain point, you can cut yourself off from the bad habits that you have. And in Planned Parenthood, you got to check yourself sometimes.
So now I'm thinking about our plant selection strategy. I told y'all, strategy is big for me. Okay, that's that Virgo energy. No matter how you're cultivating plants, whether it be in the house, in the garden, or on your farm, shout out to the farmers out there. We love them. It's always best to choose a plant with care needs that we can accommodate.
Or that your environment can accommodate.
And in doing that, honestly, I think that, this aspect of things is where I feel like a lot of people get it wrong. This is people get it unnecessarily complicated, unfortunately. Overlooking reasonable compatibility. Compatibility, that is my platform. If I was running for something and talking about relationships, it would be compatibility for the people. So do you think that relationships would be easier if we were more intentional and careful about choosing partners whose needs that we can actually meet, especially as we are identifying early on what those needs are, just like we do with plants?
Mm-hmm. And a simple answer is yes. Even people to people, person to person, person to object, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you being the subject, you have to know what you have to offer first. And then you have to
Okay.
know what I have to offer, who needs it.
Okay. Yes.
And not who wants it, but who needs it. Because if you go over want, over need, I think that that's where we go wrong as humans, because we function so much off of I want.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, let's say this. We know that J-Lo has been divorced 4 or 5 times, right?
That's not my business.
All men think she's beautiful.
Mm.
But just because it's beautiful, like we walk into a plant shop, that plant,
It's a lot of beautiful plants in there.
that plant may not be able to come home with you
Yeah.
because it's a tropical plant. It loves humidity. It needs watering. But your apartment only has one window.
And
You
you're
don't
not
have
even
the sunlight.
interested in investing in a humidifier.
No, not interested in investing in a humidifier, not a plant light,
Mm-hmm.
not the things that it needs. You don't have what J-Lo, what that philodendron needs in your house. Okay, so you leave it. But us as humans take it, and then you end up trying to fit a square into a circle.
That's really it.
Yeah, and that's why the answer is absolutely. I think once we figure out what we have to offer and what we need also, because you're not just the giver, you also need to be given to. Okay, so two relationships. So I definitely think that if we moved in ways where we know what that person needs and we have it, and then we approach it, then we'd be better in any subject.
You know we like to do a rapid fire at Black in the Garden. Y'all should know this by now. So on this situation, we're going to do a little rapid fire ping pong.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask you one. You going to answer.
Let's go.
And then you going to ask me one. And we'll boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a plant that reminds you of a past relationship?
Absolutely. And I would have to say a fern. It was one that looked pretty, but was so hard to take care of, and it died quick. What's one plant habit that you would never tolerate in a partner?
Slow growth. Cactus or orchid? What's your plant personality, and what does it say about you as a partner?
I would say cactus.
Okay.
I do not like orchids.
Oh.
But I think I'm low maintenance. So what's your deal breaker when it comes to plants? Is there something a partner must respect about your plant babies?
Absolutely. They my babies. They gonna be mine when you leave.
So,
if you don't stay.
Okay, cool. So when you're gone, don't take my plant.
Yes. Is it a deal breaker for you if your partner doesn't like plants?
Absolutely.
Do they even make it to partner?
I was just about to say, I've never gotten that far. Have you ever tried to convert a non-plant person or gardener into a plant or garden lover?
I don't believe in doing that. I'm not trying to change nobody.
So you
come
like what
as
you like,
are.
and you can go as you are too.
Exactly. Maybe we can have fun doing some other stuff.
Okay.
All right. So this one's for both of us, and then we're going to get on out of here. Is there, if your ideal partner were a plant, what kind of plant would they be?
Ooh. Monstera. I would definitely say a Monstera. And the reason why is because they're bold. They have so much character. They're unique in style, and they fill up space very well.
Okay. I like that. Oh, that's very thoughtful.
Yes.
I was just going to say a big old snake plant, and I'm going to leave it right there. I didn't wear this dress for nothing. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We had a great time as we cozy up this season. Let's give some thought to our green companions.
You can't have
especially
a snake
those
plant.
snake plants and how they help us grow. Plants.
They are good bedroom plants too. Snake plants are very good bedroom plants. Okay, they take in CO2 at night and push oxygen out in the morning.
I got one in my room right now for that very reason.
Gotcha.
All right. So plants remind us to be patient, gentle, present, and maybe if you're like me, a little bit naughty sometimes, not just with them, but with ourselves and each other. I'm excited for y'all to think about your own relationships with plants, with others, and with yourself. We can't emphasize that enough. Soil Cousins, make sure y'all stay tuned for the watering moment.
All right, plant fam, to all my plant baby mamas, my plant uncles, my plant aunties, the whole plant fam, come on in, come in close. Yep, okay. I got a question for you. Have you ever found yourself taking care of a plant like it's your child? Congratulations, yes. If the answer is yes, you are officially a single plant parent. But let's be honest, single plant parenthood is not easy out here. It's getting real. But it's that kind of lifestyle where your kids never talk back, but they'll droop dramatically when they don't get enough attention. And can we talk about the attachment that we develop? I mean, literally, I once caught myself giving my monstera a pep talk. I'm watering the plant, I'm wiping the leaves off, talking about, all right, daddy's gotta go, but I'll be back with some food and some sunlight, knowing good and dang on well I'm not bringing any sunlight back. But it's in these moments that I realized that being a single plant parent is just not a hobby, it's an emotional relationship. But here's the real tea. Taking care of plants isn't just about making sure they look good for Instagram. A side note, if you check out the Instagram, you'll see plenty of plant selfies. You might want to take a few yourself. But really, it's about nurturing something that brings life and calm into our space. And I think that's what we all really want in any relationship, no matter if it's a person, a thing, whatever it is. We want to feel alive, grounded, and connected, even if that someone is a leafy green that refuses to tell you why it's suddenly turning yellow. So whether you're a single plant parent with a shelf full of pothos or just starting with one resilient snake plant, remember this. Your plant babies might not call you back or surprise you with breakfast in bed, but they are rooting for you, as I am. Literally, they are proof that even in our single seasons, we are capable of caring, growing, and thriving. And hey, if anyone asked, yes, I am definitely in a committed relationship with all these plants, but specifically the number one is my fiddle leaf fig. Keep that in mind. So keep it fun, keep it light, but remember to keep growing, plant fam. Plant more and worry less. Plant Zaddy out.
Until next time, Soil Cousins, happy growing. And don't forget to give those little green roommates of yours a little extra love today. And I want to wish you all, as usual, love, light, and soil.
Love, light, and soil. We're reaping good deeds, enjoying all the spoils. Rooted in the land way back where we started. When we were black in the garden.
Black like the root of my hair, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. Hey, yeah, black